Hey everyone, I'm here to inform you more about what's been going on as of now. I was in a bad mental state when I wrote part 1. Not that I'm much better now, but at least I have more mental clarity. And I failed to inform that yes, I had called the police once I got home that day. It was the first thing I did in hopes that they would catch Irene on time, but that didn't happen. Police found nothing but trash in her home, no corpses, and not even a sign of the girl herself. And since she has also been missing ever since, they have no evidence or means to perform an arrest. I omitted the fact that she had been operating herself while I was hiding inside her wardrobe, as I don't want them to think I'm crazy and discard the things I've said. Her parents are now declared missing. About 2 weeks have passed since they last went to work, but as Irene had called the business they work for to say they had a family emergency and would be out of the country for the month, they pressed no charges. Other people from the area have been missing as of recently at an alarming rate, including 2 children, but all they can do for now is search for any leads of the missing people and Irene as well. And quite frankly, I doubt the police can help. Whatever she has become isn't human anymore, and arresting her won't stop her. I've decided to take matters into my own hands and look for her. I'm neck deep into this mess, and now that she probably knows what I've seen, my life is in danger. My first idea was to see where she had done plastic surgery first during the summer, if she really did go to a clinic instead of doing it herself. I knew her email address and password, so it was pretty easy to use a VPN. I'm not dumb enough to leave traces and log into her account. After that, I filtered her emails searching for any clinics and hospitals she's contacted. One of the exchanges stood out to me. I'm translating here exactly what was written, redacting their emails for privacy. Dear Miss Irene, we are here to confirm your appointment at 8 a.m. on Thursday, July 12th. Your payment has been approved as of today, and we are ready for your operation. We hope you the best luck. The text mentioned nothing about what kind of operation she was going to have, but a quick search showed me it was one of those cheap, unknown plastic surgery clinics, so it wasn't hard to figure it out. But what did they mean by payment? Irene had no money. Her parents worked long shifts at work to provide for her. She had almost no savings, and somehow was paying thousands on expensive procedures. Something was clearly wrong. And either this was a scam, or she robbed a bank and didn't tell anyone else. I wrote down the address and stopped by today during the afternoon. The supposed clinic was nothing more than a run-down house. The paint was decrepit, the windows were small and dirty, the grass was slightly overgrown, and the curtains that blocked the view of the inside were thick and pulled all the way down. I had a bad feeling about it. As some of you suggested, I brought a pocket knife with me, but I wasn't so sure it would be very helpful against whatever could be inside, but I had to be brave, and I answered anyway, wishing for the best. Besides the receptionist, a tall boy with deep dark circles under his eyes, there were only 2 other people inside, both women. One of them was in her mid-20s and had bandages all over her swollen face, while the other one was in her late 50s and seemed there to just make company for the younger girl. They both looked at me uninterested, and I went straight to the receptionist. He probably wasn't much older than me, and I wondered what a boy my age was doing there. How can I help you? He asked. Actually, I'm here because a friend of mine had plastic surgery here before, and she told me if I gave her name, I would receive a discount. I was lying shamelessly without even knowing if it would work, but if you know anything about desperation, you understand me. You have to try. And that apparently works somehow. Yeah, what's her name? He asked. I told him Irene's full name and showed him a before and after picture of her, and that's when I knew I had gotten it. The boy looked terrified for a second, and he could barely breathe, let alone speak. After about 5 seconds of absolute silence, he looked over my shoulder to the 2 women sitting behind me, and upon seeing their supposed indifference, he spoke in a softer, quieter tone. When did she recommend you here? Last week. Why? I pretended to be innocent so much that it hurt. I could see the panic on his face become sheer horror. At that moment, one of the doors opened and another man called the woman behind us. The receptionist then said to the man, that I assume was a doctor, in a deeply desperate tone, I'm sorry, Dr. Seal. I'm having an emergency. Can I just leave for today? It's really important. Dr. Seal complained, but eventually letting him go. And once we were both outside the clinic, the boy pushed me into an empty alley and just told me, "You're kidding, right? You haven't spoken to that girl last week, have you? This is impossible." "No, I'm being serious. I did speak to her last week, and she's missing now. Is there anything you want to tell me?" I was relieved to finally tell the truth, even if just partially. I had seen Irene, even though I wish I hadn't, and she really was missing now. Whatever he knew was important enough that needed to be talked about privately. "That girl died on the operation table. Listen, I'm not supposed to tell you this. Dr. Seal would kill me if he knew I told this to anyone. But she died of blood loss this summer while operating. Too many surgeries at once, and this is what happens. It's not the first time. The thing is that she never mentioned she was a minor, and he never asked. Her parents probably didn't even know she signed up for this, because the contact numbers were all fake. If police knew about it, Dr. Seal would lose his license, so he buried her. Whoever this person you spoke to is, this isn't her, because she's dead." I was taken by surprise for a moment, but at the same time, part of me already knew that the Irene I knew and loved was dead. Before I thought it was just metaphorically, though now it seems more literal than I'd ever dreamed. However, I needed proof that she died and that this wasn't part of an elaborate scam to fool me. There was no way it isn't her. I saw it. It's her face, her body, her voice. It's her. No impersonator can be that good. You either prove me or I call it bullshit. I can prove, but if you call the police, you're dead. I'm dead. Dr. Seal said he would employ me as his assistant in the surgery if I ever told someone, even though I did nothing, so I'm fucked as well. You can't tell anyone this. I paid my price when I decided to be compliant, and now I can't sleep. Guilt is eating me from the inside out. Leaving with the guilt is good enough of a punishment for me. He basically begged. "If you want to see, I can show you where she's buried. But you have to promise me to keep quiet." Following a stranger, especially a man, into somewhere I didn't know when it was already dark wasn't probably a good idea. But if I wanted to see it with my own eyes instead of trusting his words, I knew I had to go without questioning even further. I didn't know when or if I would have the opportunity again. I had to dare to know. I followed him into another street, not far from where the clinic is, and we arrived at an empty lot, with overgrown grass and trash piled up. That was the place where they buried her. We walked inside the lot, taking care with each step as to not step over garbage piles, or worse. At the corner, next to a rusty fence, there was a part of the ground that had a pile of trash bags over it, but no grass underneath. "It's here, but I won't dig anything." After 5 minutes of removing the bags and digging with my own hands, he decided to help me as well, or else we wouldn't be finished in a single night. Soon enough we reached something hard, like wooden, and we found what we had been looking for. A big wooden box was the improvised coffin that had Heidi's body and her personal belongings, only that inside the box, there was no body to be found. We found her purse, her cell phone, her wallet, a little rosary she had ever since she was little, and her clothes, the shirt I gave her on her last birthday, her favorite sandals, the skirt she said was her lucky one, the things that made Irene the person she used to be, and that now are a part of the past, long forgotten. Something inside me hurt when I saw all of the little things that were so precious to her reduced to trash, thrown away with such little care, but I didn't have time to be sad. Fear took over me once it really hit me that Irene wasn't buried here. Somehow she made it outside of the grave, and I wasn't the only one panicking. You were right. She is alive. Who knows how, but she's fucking alive," the receptionist said. "But where the hell is she now?" The answer to that question was something I dreaded. For a person that just a minute ago talked about daring to know, I'm a damn big coward. But I have never been more afraid of what could happen to me and to the people around me. We walked together until I was close to my home, parting ways at a gas station. with the promise that I wouldn't tell the police that Irene is not dead, but should be. According to his testimony, it's completely impossible that she was alive, simply because Dr. Co cut her into pieces to fit into the box as to not raise suspicion. If she didn't die in a surgery, there's no way she left the clinic alive. You can't survive that. Whatever came to school past summer wasn't her already, and the rejection only made it descend into madness. My parents were working late, as they always are on weekdays. Though I'm used to dining alone, at least for now, it would be good to have time to think alone, but I couldn't help but feel scared and defenseless like this. I tried to take my mind off it by turning on the TV and putting on some music, although nothing really helped. The feeling of uneasiness just faded into the background noise, and while I was preparing dinner, I received a text from a number I knew so well. The first message in a long time, only this time, no friendly banter, but a threat. It was a picture of me and the receptionist walking together on the street with the caption, "Having fun with your little friend?"